Hi everybody, I'm here with a special guest, Ryan Weaver. Ryan, you've got something very interesting in terms of, you mentioned a word which really tweaked exactly the passion that we have for these beautiful fish that are swimming today on the show. And that is look after the immune system.
Yes.
Now, you are from the Specialized Aquatic Feeds, and that's the company that manufactures them, am I right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And then the brand is OPTIGOI.
OPTIGOI, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So under the OPTIGOI stable of koi feeds, we've basically designed different purpose-built feeds for different stages of your fish's life. What you were talking about just now is the OPTIBOOST, and that is designed towards the stimulation of the immune system of the fish. It's a feed that's used prior to a stress event or as a recovery after a stress event. So a handling, a cleaning of a pond, something like that. Very similar to how we would take vitamin C or up our vitamin levels going into winter in order to stimulate our immune system and to fortify it for any potential flu or things like that. It's based on the same principle as that, and it comes essentially out of the commercial aquaculture industry. So
there is history behind that, and there's actually proof that it works.
Yes.
It's not just
so it's a similar concept to what we use, for example, on the abalone farm. So we come out of the abalone farming commercial stable.
Right.
And when we have the red tides each year in the Western Cape, which the southeaster brings into the bay, that can cause a lot of stress to the animal. And we feed a health diet leading up to those stress events and as a recovery afterwards. It's not something that we're seeing a lot in the ornamental sector yet, but I think there is a lot to be said for it. So for people to be more aware of the impact of the nutrition that they are feeding their fish and how that can help improve their immune system, help them to handle stress better, and in effect give them the best relationship with their animal.
Ryan, the Japanese have a saying, learn how to keep water, then you have fish. And apart from that as well is just if you look after the immune system, it's the same as you and I, like you were saying about the vitamins. If we look after ourselves, we're going to be less susceptible. So it's a proactive measure when it comes to the boost that one is looking at.
Yes.
And I see so many people having beautiful fish, their pets of course, and then I see the most horrific food sources that has been given, and really, we can't live on takeaway, and neither can our beautiful pets. And speaking about food, you've got an experiment behind us where you have showcased what certain of the feeds do to the water and contaminate the water. There's also a lot of overfeeding, so I find that the fatty liver, a fish is not meant to be overfed, but also not underfed, and it needs to be, you need to have the right nutrition.
Well, I mean, there's a wonderful saying that goes along the lines of, fish don't overeat, we overfeed.
I love that. Just say that again.
Fish don't overeat, we overfeed.
I like that so much.
And people really need to be aware of that. And it's fantastic. I think one of the most important things is your daily interaction with your fish. With your koi.
Yes.
It is a pet and it's an exotic animal. It really is. This is something that has been this has been bred over years and years and years to select specific traits. It is not just a run-of-the-mill. It's probably one of the most exotic animals that you can get. When people think of exotic animals, they think of lizards and snakes and things like that. This is something, we can't even live in the environment in which it lives, yet we are charged with looking after that animal every day, providing its nutrition.
Yes.
And nutrition is the point of direct interaction with your animal. So that is the point at which you come in contact with your fish each day.
Yes.
That is the point at which you can get a good assessment of what the health of that fish is. Are they eating? Are they not eating? Are they eating? Are they? What is their movement? What is their happiness in the pond? And what we're trying to do here with the experiments is just to give the guys a little bit of food for thought, excuse the pun there, just on how they choose their nutrition.
Right.
So we're running a water stability test here, and we've arranged the different commercial feeds that are available in your pet shops in South Africa, from your cheapest ones over here to your most expensive ones, just to give the guys an idea of what the different foods do to your water quality. So water quality is one thing. The stability of the pellet within the water is also essential, because you want to see on the days where your fish are not eating all of the food, you want to be able to remove the uneaten pellets from the water as well.
I can see the food
that is sunk down.
sunk down and
Yeah, that becomes less accessible. It's not to say, I mean, a sinking feed is not necessarily a problem in a koi tank. It just takes it out of your line of sight and your ability to remove it again if it's uneaten or if it remains uneaten on the bottom.
right, right.
Like I said earlier, we come out of the abalone industry, and there you're dealing with an animal that needs to eat that, or takes 36 hours to eat its food. So that food needs to be water stable in the environment that that animal is being reared in
Yes.
for 36 hours. That's a long,
It's a long time.
You can't have that that food leaching nutrients into the water and essentially polluting its own environment.
Right.
So that food needs to retain its full nutrient spectrum, and it needs to be able to eat on that slowly over time.
Okay.
So this is our feed over here. We've got fantastic water quality coming out
I
of that.
see that, yes.
And it's a locally produced feed. It's also extremely finely ground, so which makes it fully digestible. So all of your nutrients that are in that, the full balanced diet, is fully digestible in there.
So you don't lose. You're actually not wasting money.
You're not wasting money.
All the good nutrients is going into.
So anything that is coarsely ground, where you're seeing chunks of maize and mealie and things like that, that is a lot less accessible and digestible by the fish.
Yes.
Not only is it going to pollute your water, but your fish is not getting everything that you've paid for in terms of your nutrition.
It's very important because there's always this thing of, the cost per kilo, and one needs to understand the value per kilo rather than the cost per kilo.
Exactly.
So I like what you say there.
So in commercial aquaculture, we refer to FCR. So it's all about, in commercial trout farming, commercial tilapia farming, it's all about the feed conversion rate. So how many kilos of feed are you feeding to the kilos of growth you're getting back.
Right.
On the koi and your ornamental side, it's more about health, maintenance, retaining body shape and size. It's less of a directly measurable thing.
Yes.
It's an observable factor, and it's essential that you're providing them with a feed that's highly digestible and very good for the health of the gut tract. So your hind gut especially, you find if you're using poorly processed proteins in your feeds, you end up with a lot of hind gut inflammation. You classically see that with hind gut shedding at the back end. I'm sure you may have seen it in some cases as well.
Yes.
And that's mainly due to agitation of the villi in the back end of your small intestine.
Yes.
So, we focus a lot on the digestibility of the proteins and the nutrient sources that we're using in our feeds. Yeah.
Now, apart from the boost,
Yeah.
you've also got your staple, you've also got your color enhancing, and so forth.
Yeah.
Just let us.
Okay, so
Have a
what
little
we've
run.
done, and I mean, we're learning it classically this weekend here with the Durban Koi Show, is our version of winter down in the Cape is very different to the KZN
Very
version
much.
of winter.
Yeah.
So we can't really give a seasonal guideline and say, okay, summer feed this, spring feed that,
Yes.
winter feed that, because our water temperatures are different in different
Correct,
parts of the country.
correct.
So we've set up a table on the back that gives you the different water temperatures. It's very important that
Oh,
you
I
keep
like
an
this.
eye on your water temperature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because under 10 degrees, we normally recommend with koi, don't feed.
Don't feed. So
Because
you-
they can't digest. And that's also what you were talking about, the quality of the food.
Yeah. So your top line there, no feeding.
Right,
It's
I'm
strange
with
for
you.
a food brand to tell you not to feed.
yeah.
But there are there's certain conditions under which you shouldn't feed.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Then as your water temperatures start to warm up, so it's still on the cold side, so 15 degrees and below, we tend to feed a wheat germ
Right.
in combination with your boost. So you're looking after the fish's immune system,
Yeah.
and you're maintaining, so it's a maximally digestible feed.
Right.
It's providing the full nutrient profile, but it's not pushing your fats and your proteins.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
As the water warms up and you come out of your winter season, your fish is now wanting to regain condition, get the fat back again, their hunger
right.
and their appetite is back again.
Yes.
Then you'll start mixing in your growth. So you'll do a
Makes sense.
combination then of a staple with your growth, or wheat germ weaning onto your growth and then onto your staple.
Okay.
And then when you're showing, we would use the color feed. So the color feed pops, it's got a lot of antioxidants in it, it's got a lot
Right.
of carotenoids in it.
Yes.
And it helps to pop and show, so give you a good white sheen to your fish.
Right.
And then also pop the reds and the color and the different color elements in the fish. as
Okay,
well.
okay.
Yeah. And your staple is also a nice feed that can be used for a range of different pond species. So if you've got a pond where you're feeding goldfish and koi and comets, the staple is a nice applicable feed for all of those.
That's
They
nice.
don't necessarily all have the same protein and fat balance requirement of
Right.
your koi.
Yes.
So it's nice, and it's also, you should also be aware of your pellet size for the fish size that you're feeding too. So a lot of
very
people
interesting.
come in and think we can feed a 7 mil fish to these poor goldfish over here. They're going to push that thing around like a soccer ball for ages before they actually manage to eat it.
That's correct.
So be careful in your sizing that you choose for your fish as well.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we've covered everything else. But in terms of distribution, you are currently on a national basis. You know, you were we were talking this morning about the distribution in Joburg and of course here in KwaZulu-Natal and on a national basis. But this food is available all the time.
Yes, yeah. So we are working here in KZN with Hillcrest Pets and Aquaria.
Right.
Then up in Joburg, we're establishing relationships with a few different sellers. Hopefully
Yes.
we'll be working with you guys a bit
I
as well.
would be very interested, yes.
Yeah. But currently also with Wonderboom Pets there. And then in the Western Cape, the guys are buying it from the factory, but also we sell it online on Takealot.
Okay.
So it is accessible all over the country as
Well,
well. through
that's-
there.
that-
But we still, I mean, we're brand new. We're about 18 months on the market, and we're having fantastic feedback from the people that are using our feeds.
Good,
So
good.
we're very happy with the performance.
Well, I personally am very excited, especially when we started off by talking about the immune system,
Yeah.
because that's what it's all about, you know.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, unfortunately, people tend to leave it until it's too late, looking after the health of their fish.
Yes.
If you can get proactive and we can get people just to think a little bit differently about their nutrients and how they care for that fish, it's an essential part of how you look after your fish.
It's exactly what you and I would do with our family and you know, and children. We would be proactive about that because we know the consequences, and so it should be with our beautiful pets. But I want to thank you for your time, thank you for your expertise, and thank you that you have brought this into the market, because this is exactly what is required.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat to you guys.
Thank you. Well, folks, it's about building the immune system of the fish, as you know, but it's also about quality rather than quantity, and that's critical. And you can see that this is a perfect balance, and especially when it comes to that boost. I'm so excited about that boost. Please check it out. Thank you.